again as to who would have been involved in these two murders.
He said, he told know who killed the two rap stars, but that he believed from Puffy Combs or individuals with Death Row Records could have killed Shakur, and individuals associated with Death Row Records killed Mr. Wallace.
And then he talks a little bit of the gang war that occurs shortly after the murder of Tupac Shakur.
Yes. Basically, he said that there was a conflict between Davis and Mr. Marion Knight that resulted, as a result of the shootings, the conflict. There was basically a war going on between Southside Compton Crips and Compton Blood Pirate gang members. Altercation with Marcus Nunn and Orlando Anderson, other members of Southside Compton Crips, along with the Compton Blood gang members.
And he claims the reason that people believe that Orlando Anderson is the killer is that he asserts the Compton police is telling people that.
That's correct. He made comments that he believed that Compton PD members were putting out rumors that Orlando Anderson and them were involved.
Do you confront about Mr. Anderson, the attack, and him being upset about that particular attack?
Well, I mean, we asked him about that, about the whole escalation of incidents, gang activity, the incident at the mall, then at Jim Grand, then obviously the shooting of Tupac and things of that nature. Mr. Davis said that Davis and Anderson were upset after the casino's attack on Anderson, but they weren't going to strike back with so many police officers around that they would have struck back once they returned to Compton.
So he indicates to you that he's free enough to do it. It's just he planned on doing it in Compton, which instead of in Las Vegas.
Yeah, if they were, apparently it was because of police presence in the area, something of that nature.
I'm not going to go through all the rest of this. The jury can read the rest of this. Let me just check the very bottom. Well, thank you, Agent. That completes my questions.
Okay. Mr. Stamp, cross-examination.
Thank you, Honor. It's no longer special agent, or it's still special agent?
Either way is fine.
All right. We'll stick with Special Agent Lee.
Okay.
All right. Now, sir, fair to say, working for the FBI would have been something of an honor, I would imagine, working for an organization like that.
Yes.
Fair to say, of course, that working for the FBI, I would imagine that other people would consider that to be the creme de la creme of investigation throughout our entire country.
Yeah, some people would consider that, yes.
You put on seminars for law enforcement agencies throughout the country to help them with their investigative efforts, to help them become better police officers and detectives. Fair?
You talking about me specifically?
No. Well, you as the FBI.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes.
And with regard to that, have you ever gone to Compton Police Department to learn how they do their investigative techniques, make yourself or your agency a better agency, or yourself as a better special agent?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
Have you ever gone to Compton Police Department to see how they do their investigations to become a better agent yourself?
No, I did not.
All right. And once again, with regards to what you do as the FBI, you're very specific in your task, right? Your task is whenever there's a violation of federal law, for instance, you're the agency that would be tasked.
I'm sorry.
With regards to federal law, if there's a violation of federal law, you're the agency that typically would be tasked with the investigation, right?
Correct.
Now, we talked a little bit about the the 302s in this case. And the 302, just for the jury's edification, when you say it's sort of a means, it's really just a piece of paper and a pen, right?
It's a report.
Right. And so you are writing out what your impressions or recollection was of a specific event or time, right?
Correct.
So if you're sitting in a room and we're having a conversation, you would note in your report who's in the room and what your impressions were of what was said and who said what, right?
Correct.
Now, of course, juries here would be curious. You know, we have recorders now, back in 1996, 1998 in this case. Recorders were available to the FBI, but of course that's not how you do your job.
The use of recordings for the FBI they were not standard policy and procedure for the FBI at that period of time.
Yeah, and you retired since, what, 5 years ago?
Yes.
During that time period, has it changed in terms of that policy with the FBI?
During the time period that I've been retired,
Right, no, up until the time that you retired. Has the policy changed?
the standard procedure is no, not to record.
Right, and so as a result of that, any recording that's done is typically not what the FBI does, right? You still focus on pen to paper recollection onto a 302.
Yes.
Okay. And so in terms of how you do it, the thread, or at least saw put into the record, is the work you recall, your partner recalls during the course of an investigation.
Of that event, yes.
Okay. Now, in terms of the task force here, we talked a little about the task force project, Safe Street. Is that what it was? Yes?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury a little bit of what that project was about?
The Safe Streets Task Force?
Yes.
So it's a compilation of multi-agencies directed to address gang activity within specific areas. So the Safe Streets Task Force initiative is a national initiative, but then there are fundings and directives that are set to specific areas to address areas of high crime committed by gang activity.
Okay. And I would imagine gang activity would include violent crimes,
Correct.
as well as, say, in this case, drug dealing,
Drug trafficking, yes.
as long as it's associated with gangs.
Yes, primarily so, yeah.
Because, of course, you do have the DEA that also runs their own investigations as well.
DEA, ATF, yeah, we work with them.
Now, in terms of your, about this task force, can you tell us at the time when you were operating on it, who was on the task force?
Oh, I mean, there were several agencies in terms of specific agencies.
Well, just in terms of your working with other people, do you recall at all who it was that was working on the task force with you at that time?
Well, there were members of Los Angeles PD. We've had, I believe there was ATF. So there was multiple aspects of the task force. So different squads had different elements working depending on what cities they were in. So Inglewood PD, Compton PD, LA County Sheriffs, LAPD, DEA, ATF. I believe we even had postal inspectors that might be involved. There was just a myriad of different agencies.
Sure. Can you tell us who from the Compton Police Department was part of your task force?
Our specific task force, the squad that I was on with Mr. Holliday, we did not have an element from Compton PD.
Why was that?
Because we were working in an area that was in Watts, in South Central Los Angeles, so we had LAPD elements, LA County Sheriffs.
So one of the things that we saw today was that one of the individuals that potentially was somebody of interest, I would imagine to you, was a police officer from Compton by the name of Reggie Wright Jr.
Well, he was a former police officer. There was Reggie Wright Sr., who was his father.
Okay, so your work in Inglewood and this other area, I would assume that that information with regards to Reggie Wright Jr. would have been sent to whoever it is that was working that particular area of LA?
Or of Compton. There was a different squad that was working Compton. Yes.
Can you tell us who that squad was?
What do you,
Who was in that squad?
the agents or,
Yeah.
to be honest, I don't, well, I mean, some of the agents I recall.
Do you know who that you can recall that was there?
At that specific time, I'm not there was an agent, Elliot.
Michael Elliott?
He worked down there, yes.
And I don't want to strain you a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
So and the
I'm
reason,
well, for clarification, because over that time period, agents will change squads and things of that nature. Like I left the gang task force in 2003, and squads would move and change objectives. So who was working at that specific time? There may have been somebody at one period and then it changed or whatever over the course of time.
and would it be fair to say, of course, that something like this, if you really need this information, you would refer to a 302, to refresh your recollection if you have.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, though, you're here. There was a proffer session that was conducted with my client, with Mr. Davis,
Yes.
and that proffer was set for July 16, 1998. That's the exhibit. I don't know. I think it's that one right there. That's correct. Up in the top right-hand corner, do you see the date?
That was the date of the report.
Right. So it'd be dated.
It was
July
actually
16th.
July 14th.
Okay. So even though the date says this, it would be the 14th.
Yes, well, so there's a little bit like, the date of the 16th is the date of the report. Down at the bottom where it says 7/14/98, that's the date of the actual activity.
Okay. And you're meeting with Mr. Davis, and specifically, you're meeting with him in terms of under the task force, which was gangs and whatever they're doing that's crime related to gangs. Is that what we were doing at this point under the Safe Street Task Force? Okay. And so when you meet with Mr. Davis, there was an understanding at that particular point that, hey, whatever you're going to tell us, we're not going to prosecute you for. Is that what's happening on that date?
Under the proffer agreement, yes.
Okay. And that proffer agreement, of course, does require the approval of the United States Attorney's Office that would be responsible for that area, right?
Yes.
And in this case, that person would have been Assistant United States Attorney Michael Terrell.
Correct.
Was he present for that meeting?
Yes, he was.
You, your partner, another FBI agent, as well as Special Agent Michael Terrell.
Assistant United States Attorney Michael.
I'm sorry, Assistant United States Attorney Michael Terrell. And in that meeting, there was an understanding between Mr. Davis and his attorney that whatever was going to be said was not going to be used against them.
Unless he came out and testified and said something that was contradictory to what he said in the proffer agreement, yes.
Sure. Now, once again, we're talking about the federal government here, right? So do you have, was there an actual proffer by the party standing that you're telling us right now in terms of what was the terms in the agreement?
There is, but that's maintained by the United States Attorney's Office.
Okay. And since we're talking about that particular proffer here today, fair to say that would be relevant information that we should be considering?
Could you repeat
Objection
that?
to the form of the question calls for a legal conclusion.
Okay, sustained if you would rephrase.
So I want to make sure I'm clear here. We are talking about a proffer. You're telling us that there is a contract of some sort between yourself and Mr. Davis with regards to that proffer. Do you have a copy of it here today?
That's not between myself and Mr. Davis. It was between Mr. Davis and the United States Attorney's Office.
Okay. And once again, do you have a copy of that here today?
No, I do not.
Now, in terms of your understanding of this agreement, Mr. Davis gives an agreement, and in the agreement, I'm assuming, the idea behind it is that he has to give you truthful information, right?
Correct.
And if there's no truthful information, then he's exposing himself to a potential crime in which he's now freely admitted to it, right?
I'm not sure I understand the question that you're
So-
asking.
here, I don't want to break it down for myself because maybe I don't understand. So a proffer agreement promises the person that you're interviewing that we're not going to prosecute you for what you're telling us.
Right.
If the person's lying and you catch them lying, then technically the proffer doesn't count anymore because they violated their terms of the agreement. Is that how that goes?
If they like during the agreement
During the
or during the proffer session.
Right.
So that doesn't necessarily the benefit is for consideration for plea bargaining and sentencing consideration. So if the individual who's being interviewed during the proffer session shows a lack of candor, lies, and things of that nature, then the consideration for a plea bargain, plea agreement, will be considered by the United States Attorney's Office and what they will offer to that defendant. As far as using it against them, it's still the proffer agreement terms as far as using that information against them in that case in chief on that charge, we would still not use it.
Sure. I just want to make sure it makes sense.
Right. Okay. So one of the things about the proffer, it's, as I said earlier, was to set up it's at the beginning of a sort of plea negotiation period. So we go to Mr. Davis, we say, you come in, you tell us the truth, we won't use it against you in this case or whatever, regardless of what you say. And the United States Attorney's Office, that information, how valuable it is. For example, not in this case, not necessarily in this case, we've had individuals who provide information and then they actually go on to become cooperating witnesses for us. They're willing to testify in case against other co-defendants and things of that nature. All of that gets utilized in determining the sentencing for that person and for reducing their sentence on that federal charge. As you're suggesting, if an individual comes in and they're not truthful, they're providing us information that we know is factually inaccurate based on our other investigations, surveillance, wiretaps, and things of that nature, and statements from other witnesses, we would report that to the United States Attorney's Office, and they would take that as far as the sentencing that they would offer for the plea agreement. They would say, well, your client hasn't been forthright in candor, we're not going to reduce it at all.
Did you do that in this case? Was there any recommendation from you or your partner, the United States Attorney's Office, and specifically to AUSA Michael Terrell, that said, hey, Mr. Davis is not being forthright and truthful with regards to his July 14, 1998 statement?
Do that. Whether or not Mr. Holliday did, I'm not.
Now, let me ask you this then. So he gives a statement, and I want to make sure we're clear. You listen to what Mr. Davis says. Did you ever verify the information in here, specifically allegations of Tupac Shakur's murder?
Verify in terms of what?
Well, for instance, in the document that would have been the year 302 that's dated as of July 14, 1998, there's an indication here, for instance, that at the Las Vegas casino, Davis, Anderson, Davis's girlfriend, and Anderson's girlfriend went up to their Hotel Caliber casino. Now, once again, this is 1998. The death of Tupac Shakur was in September of 1996. Verify that information with Las Vegas to see if either, and in this case, that what the 302 indicates is that was in Anderson's name. Did you verify that to be true?
I did not specifically know.
Okay. And then with regards to the way in which he describes, meaning Mr. Davis, how they got to Las Vegas, he says in here that they drove to Las Vegas in a Land Cruiser. Any particular reason? I mean, do you have a Land Cruiser? Was there any verification of that information?
I did not verify that. No.
Now, in addition to that, he had indicated that Corey Edwards, Kevin Davis, Terry Brown, and Big Dre, or AKA Big Dre, Big Dre and Duane had also traveled to Las Vegas. Did you ever verify if any of those individuals went to Las Vegas?
No, I did not.
And whether or not they stayed at the MGM Casino?
No, I did not.
Okay, so once again, for the jury's edification, shooting takes place in September of 1996. You're getting this information from Mr. Davis on July 1998, right?
Yes.
About a year and,
Right.
8 months, 9 months, something like that. Now, in addition to that, he made mention, at least with that first interview, that he believed that Compton police officers had been the ones to have committed that particular act, the crime in Las Vegas, in terms of the shooting of Tupac Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And once again, that's just for the record. With regards to that, though, sir, did you ever look into the possibility that Compton police officers may have been involved in the shooting of Tupac Shakur?
I did not specifically know.
Okay, and when you say I did not specifically, do you have any personal knowledge as responsible for following up with that information?
I'm aware that there were numerous investigations going on. There was Las Vegas PD had an investigation. There were Compton PD, LAPD. There were numerous elements of investigation going on regarding the Tupac Shakur. Regarding Mr. Davis, our squad, and what we were investigating regarding the gang activity and the drug trafficking and the charge that he was on, I was not specifically tasked to follow up and track that down. Who did, I'm not aware of.
Now, fair to say, though, of course, if you become aware of a crime like that, you would report the information that you have to whoever the responsible investigative agency would be, right?
Correct.
You're not just going to hold on to that information and just keep it to yourself, right?
Correct.
Or ignore it.
Correct.
So in this case, for instance, you share with us that there were wiretaps that were being done of Mr. Davis's phone during the time period that you were investigating. You recall that line of questioning?
Yes.
Now, wiretap is not the same as a pen register, right?
Correct.
And just for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, pen register is just numbers that you that you keep recording in terms of what number is calling out, what number is being received.
Correct.
And then an actual wiretap is when you listen to phone calls where people are talking on the phone without you telling them that you're doing so, right?
Correct.
So with regards to the information that you received, phone calls that you had, were there any phone calls at all in which this guy over here, Mr. Davis, somehow admitted or said anything along the lines of that he was either involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur or that he was even in Las Vegas on the day it happened?
So the first part of the question, no, that would be no, there was nothing. Regarding the second part, being in Las Vegas, I believe my recollection is that there was conversation about being in Vegas and coming back to Vegas after the incident, the incident being the murder of Tupac Shakur, but that was it.
Okay, and once again, I don't want to put any real pressure on you. This is 30 years ago.
Right.
So in terms of that kind of information, that would have been at least given to somebody that would have been interested in knowing whether or not, Duane Davis was in Las Vegas at the time of the shooting of Tupac Shakur. Fair?
Yes.
And as far as you can recall, without looking at any notes to refresh your recollection here, that was never done.
Can you repeat that?
Sure. Did you personally ever make any calls to either Las Vegas Metro, LAPD, or Compton PD specifically about, hey, there's information here that Keffe was in Las Vegas at the time of the shooting? Was there anything like that?
So you asked the question and then you said something, then you asked a different. Could you please?
Is that the FBI answer to the question? Let me break it up. Did you ever make any calls to Las Vegas Metropolitan Police to say, hey, we've got some information here that Duane Davis, did you ever make any calls specifically to LAPD? Say, hey, I've got this guy on the phone making some discussions here that he was at the time of the shooting of Tupac Shakur.
No, I didn't make any calls like that.
And then I'm assuming that with regards to Compton PD, did you ever call Compton to talk to somebody like, I don't know, Reggie Wright Sr., the gang guy over there, to say, hey, by the way, one of the guys from your community is saying that he was in Las Vegas at the time of the shooting of Tupac Shakur?
No, I did not.
And I appreciate you breaking that down because I didn't want the jury as well to be confused. Now, in addition to that, you had made mention about the type of volume here, or what the type of volume that Mr. Davis was moving in terms of drugs. I want to make sure I'm clear. What kind of drugs are we talking about?
Cocaine.
Okay. And can you tell us, just in volume, what kind of volume that Mr. Davis was moving at that time?
I can't. I would be total speculation. I'll based off of what was said in his statements to us.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one where he said something, I believe, to the effect of like 70 kilos at one time, or that he was fronted on. May I refer back to the report?
Sure.
Let's see here.
I know there's one for 60 kilos. I'm just want to make sure the jury understands.
Oh, I'm sorry. Primo Fine Davis, 200 kilos at one time.
Okay.
So fairly large scale.
Did you ever prove, was that ever proven to be true?
That he received that quantity of cocaine at that time?
Yeah, sure. I mean, confidential informants show up on scene, undercover police officers are there.
No, sir.
Anything like that?
No.
So it's literally what he's just telling you, right? In your 302 for this
Yes.
particular time. But no verification of whether or not that was true or not.
Regarding that specific transaction, no.
Sure. Or let me make sure I'm clear here. That specific transaction of 200 kilos is what we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever see or have any understanding of whether he was moving 300 kilos of cocaine every month as a drug dealer? Did you ever get any information indicating that he was moving 300 kilograms of cocaine every month?
I did not have that kind of specific information, no.
Now, in terms of Junior, was there, because it's not part of your area, did you refer that information to whoever it is that was part of the task force that would have covered the Compton area?
That would be most likely, yes.
Okay. And in terms of the Compton Police Department, fair to say that at some point they actually disbanded or were, they were shut down?
Yes, that's accurate.
And that would have been at what year,
I
roughly?
don't remember specifically. It was somewhere in the late 90s, I believe, or early 2000 period.
Okay. And why did they get disbanded?
I don't know these specifics. I know there was numerous allegations of corruption and such and things like that in the department, organizational, structural deficiencies.
Okay. Madam, may I have a brief moment?
Yeah.
So you shared a little bit about the next time that you meet Mr. Davis, and that was at the prison.
Correct.
And it's you and your partner still, Sergeant Holiday?
Yes.
And you go to the meeting, and he's sitting down having a conversation with you.
Yes.
And I want to make sure I'm clear. How much did you actually arrest him with in terms of the cocaine that he had? I mean, I'm assuming at some point he gets caught with cocaine, right?
No.
Okay, so what happens?
So, are you arrested? Actually, no, he was not caught with any actual cocaine. We intercepted conversations between him and another individual where they discussed a transaction before, the price, quantity, and then there were discussions after the delivery, and then there was even discussion. What kind of prompted more of the discussion? There was the two individuals had Mr. Davis and the other individual had a discrepancy over the quantity, the actual volume, the amount of cocaine.
Okay. And outside of that, nothing to your recollection that was more specific about anything to do with the cocaine. Like, he never actually got caught with it. He was just having conversations about it?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, in addition to that, when you're part of the task force, you are looking for potential issues with regards to violence. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in this particular case, had you ever come across any information in your wiretaps or anything like that of Mr. Davis putting out a hit on someone or green lighting some type of violent act to be caused against somebody?
No.
No. And that would have been part of it would have been maybe an enhancement under the sentencing guidelines in terms of if you're looking at increasing his amount of time, is that, hey, he's also doing something in furtherance of, his self.
Violent activity and things of that nature, we would definitely be looking for, yes.
Right. And in this particular case, you don't have any proof of that at all. No facts to that.
Of him being violent?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Now, there's a discussion here that Darnell Brim was identified as potentially the leader of the Southside Crips. You recall that? It should be at the end of the second 302 that you have.
Yes.
Now, in terms of that, did you ever verify that information as to whether or not Mr. Davis was lying or not about that?
No, I did not personally verify that. No.
And so as of this particular moment, as you're sitting here right now, do you have any facts at all that establishes that Mr. Davis was a shot caller or the leader of the South?
Could you repeat that the way you phrased
Meaning,
it?
do you have any facts? Do you have something that says he said out on the phone, I don't know what they do. They attend a meeting. I mean, it's like...
No, so I mean, with these gang organizations, there's not like membership cards and things of that nature. It's not like they've got a organized org chart of who is the president, vice president, and this and that nature for the most part. It is just word on the street, who runs this area, who's in charge, and it was the way we assessed that Mr. Davis was one of the leaders of the Southside Compton Crips was the totality of information we'd received from numerous informants, witness statements, and things of that nature,
And
wiretaps and things of that.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine that because Mr. Davis was a drug dealer, that the money that he's bringing in was probably the reason why he was considered to be a leader in the Southside Crips.
Because of the money that he was bringing in.
Well, I mean that's
Well,
really
the volume
value.
of drugs. Yeah, the guys who are moving the high volume drugs are going to be generally speaking, the leaders.
Right.
They're the ones that the other guys are going to go to get their quantities and things like that for sales.
Sure. And in this particular case, that's the presumption, right? It's because Mr. Davis was a drug dealer, he would be considered with some status within the Southside Crips.
Well, I wouldn't call it a presumption. Again, it's a totality of statements from other individuals and the information that we got. I mean, it wasn't the fact that he was a drug dealer that all of a sudden alerted us and said he must be a high-level Southside Compton Crip. It was a totality of information from our investigation.
Sure. Now, what does that mean, by the way?
Presumption that you presume, you're making an assumption.
But it's a little bit better than that, right? There are some facts that support whatever it is that you are throwing out there as the...
That can be the case, yes.
Now, in this particular regard, you talk a little bit about the Lakewood incident, right? It's in your report, I think, and I want to make sure on your 302, this would be... And, sir, if you run across it before I do, this would be page 4 of your 302, the date 7/14/98. Do you see where I'm at? It would be maybe the third, the 1, 2, 3, fourth paragraph down.
The Lakewood, are you referring to at the mall?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry, yeah,
That's right.
okay.
In terms of your presumption, the idea of the presumption, you're telling us that, yeah, there is some facts that help, you to have that presumption. Can you tell us what facts you have to support that there was even a Lakewood incident?
I'm sorry, you're asking what facts?
Sure.
We have several statements.
Okay, so you have several witness statements. You are aware that those allegedly, and according to what you write yourself, this was a couple weeks before the murder of Tupac Shakur. Marcus, who lived at the Southside Crip neighborhood, was in a mall by himself. A number of Blood Street gang members attacked Marcus, beating him. Orlando Anderson and then others approached the situation, observed what was happening, then went to the aid of Marcus. They beat up the Blood gang members. That's what you wrote in your 302, right?
That's for true.
Now, in that information, did you ever go to the mall to verify that there was this thing that happened a couple weeks before the murder of Tupac Shakur, which would have been sometime in August of 1996? Did you ever do that? Now, in fairness to you, sir, Lakewood Mall, an area, is governed by a police department. I don't know, is it Compton or is it the next one over? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been Compton.
Okay. So where was the next one? Did you ever at any point reach out to that police department to say, hey, can you mention this so we can verify before we put it into our 302 that the, a couple of weeks before the murder of Tupac Shakur, there was a beating that took place? Did you ever do that?
Okay, so your statement regarding doing it before we put in that was information that was provided to us by Mr. Davis. So at that time, we were just recording what Mr. Davis is telling us.
Sure.
So this is a follow-up investigation upon that.
Sure, but the state has now introduced this document in as an exhibit for the jury to consider. So you're telling us that you can't verify the information in it?
I'm telling you what Mr. told us.
Okay. But cannot verify that information. You're telling us right now you didn't verify the information that he told you.
I didn't verify that specific event.
Okay. Do you know if your partner did?
I'm not sure. If you're referring to Mr. Holliday?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate yes or no.
No, and I appreciate you in that. I don't want you to do that either. Okay. Now, Mr. Davis is in prison during this time. At some point in the future, you had mentioned that he was in there April 20th, 1999, something like that?
During the second interview, yes.
Right. Now, did you at any point ever look at his, while he was in there, how he was doing, anything like that? Any write-ups he might have had while he was in there, anything like that?
From the penitentiary?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
And then finally, just one final thing here. There was some mention in your 302, and I apologize for bouncing you back, but I'm taking you back to the July 14th, 1998 302. But in that 302, there was an allegation, or at least some information that you documented that stated that Reggie Wright out of a auto shop, the Untouchables auto shop, owned by Melvin Hurd. Do you recall that? That's actually on the top of page 4.
Yes.
Do you know why that's important and why you included that in your 302?
Well, activity regarding Reggie Wright Jr., Reggie Wright Sr., these individuals in Compton and things like that would have been important. They would have been documented. Mr. Davis provided us that information. So again, this is also information that would be utilized for for consideration by the U.S. Attorney's Office and things
Right.
like that. So all of the information is important.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you, sir. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Any redirect, Mr. Strappa?
Just briefly, you have both of those.
Yes.
302s in
Yes, I
person,
do.
right? So let's start with the July 14th, 98 one. It specifically says in the first paragraph, also, it was understood that the information provided by Davis during the interview would not be used by the FBI in a way which would disclose to individuals outside the FBI that the information came from Davis.
Correct.
So other FBI personnel learned about this, but certainly you wouldn't be calling Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and telling them, hey, guess what Duane Davis just told me?
That's correct. Yeah, there's a confidentiality portion of the proffer agreement that this is it's offered in a way to elicit information, is saying, hey, what you tell us here is not going to be told to anybody, and we won't divulge that you're the one providing this information and things of that nature.
And you're there talking to him, in your case, is about a drug case. It's not about Tupac Shakur. That just happens to be a subject that comes up in the conversation.
That's correct.
It's not your responsibility. Well, let me ask you this. Tupac Shakur is killed in the state of Nevada, the county of Clark. Who prosecutes murder cases usually for street-level shootings in Clark County?
That would be like Las Vegas Metro PD, the DA's office here in Las Vegas.
The state of Nevada. It's not a
That's
federal
correct.
crime to commit a murder in Las Vegas in most situations.
That's correct.
And so you're just gathering this information, and you did what you promised, which was keep it confidential until such time as you were authorized by me to talk about it. The only other thing I want to ask you about is Mr. Samt there is a difference between proffer and immunity. Is that correct?
That is correct.
What Mr. Davis was telling you, you wouldn't use against him, correct?
Correct.
There wasn't any sort of immunity for any crimes that he disclosed. You just couldn't use the statements that he made to you to prosecute him for those particular crimes.
That's correct.
And that it was an agreement between the United States Attorney's Office and Mr. Davis.
That's correct.
At no point in here did the state of Nevada, the Clark County District Attorney's Office, or any agency other than the U.S. Attorney's Office make an agreement with Mr. Davis 302s.
That's correct.
Nothing further.
Any recross based on Mr. Samt?
I'm sorry, what was that last question again? I'm trying to figure that out. Hey, so you're telling us, you're giving us information right now about your knowledge of what the other law enforcement agencies had agreements on or not? How do you know that?
I didn't give that information. I didn't say that.
So can we repeat that last question?
We don't have
All right,
that,
well,
capability. We can pause and show you.
No, that's all right. I just want to get to the point. What Mr. DiGiacomo just asked you was that there were no other agreements with regard to your agreement. Your agreement was the sole agreement between yourself and Mr. Davis, or FBI and Mr. Davis.
The United States Attorney's Office, Mr. Davis.
I apologize. The United Attorney's Office and Mr. Davis, and no other entity. Right? I think that's how it was put.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You don't know that, though. Did you, when you... What?
Is that a question?
Sustained stricken. You can ask a question.
You are not aware of any agreements between with other agencies because you just don't know. You are just here on behalf of the federal government and the FBI, right?
With regard to the interview that myself and Todd Holiday conducted with Mr. Davis on the 8th, the agreement was between the United States Attorney's Office and Mr. Davis. Nobody else was party to that.
Even though this was a joint task force, this was part of...
No, it was a joint task force. It was the United States Attorney's Office, the FBI, Mr. Davis.
Okay. And with regards to that task force, even though other government agencies were potentially involved in the task force, they weren't involved with regards to this agreement, the proffer. I mean, they weren't part of the proffer, is what you're saying, even though it's part of a task force.
Correct.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. DiGiacomo? No. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any questions for this witness? We do have some. All right, a couple questions from our jurors. If the proper information was never followed up on, what was the motivation behind the interview in jail or prison?
You want to go ahead and answer?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
Okay.
they have these questions. I'm
Right.
asking you to answer them.
Okay, so the motivation behind the interview in the subsequent interview in '99, we were following up on other investigation. Because when you go through the 302, you see we asked about several individuals, or we actually showed them pictures of other individuals. A lot of times what we'll do is we were going back because he was cooperative and open before. We were attempting to see he would have identities and things like that of other investigative activity regarding gang activity in the area.
Okay. And then did anyone with the FBI verify information given by Davis in the proffer?
I mean, the total regarding the totality of there was quite a bit of information when we asked about certain individuals and things that he said that we already knew. So because he provided information during the proffer session, there wasn't a need to necessarily go back and verify because we had an idea about to the question. Sort of like you ask a question that you know the answer to, that's how you know if somebody's lying. You start off with that, things like that, simple things, and then you kind of work your way in to other information. So there was a lot of information that we already had other corroborated information on. So when he's providing that information, we have a general idea whether or not he's being open and candor and truthful based off of other investigation, whether it's surveillance, wiretaps, witness statements, and things of that nature.
And you might have already answered this, that's the second part of the question, so I'm going to ask it. What information was followed up on by the proffer, if you're able to disclose it?
What
information was followed up on by the FBI that was given in Davis's proffer that you're able to disclose?
So, I mean, it's been 30 years. It'd be very difficult for me to follow up on. But again, a lot of the information, because it's historical, some of these things that he's talking about went back several years prior to into the early 90s period. So he's talking about, prior drug transactions and things of that nature. It's very difficult or almost impossible to truly verify those types of things. Other things that he talked about, for example, like recordings that were played or photos that he was shown of individuals where he identified and said this is individuals that we know and things of that nature. So there were things that were done. Was there a specific checklist, a tasking list that was put out after that interview, the proffer interview, to go out and say, go verify? That's really not the way we operate. Usually these files have hundreds of documents in them over the course of an investigation. There's, hours and hours and countless hours of wiretaps and things of that nature. So we've got a very voluminous amount of information back and check and things that along the way. So at this point, he was already indicted, arrested, and basically going towards either trial or sentencing the proffer agreement really was an opportunity for him to help himself on sentencing. And then for us to maybe, if he wanted to cooperate and things like that, to possibly open up further avenues of investigation for other individuals who weren't in custody or that were still under investigation.
All right, Mr. DiGiacomo, any follow-up based on those answers and those
No.
questions? Mr. Stamp?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. You are free to go. Thank you so much. Sorry.
There's the two exhibits.
Just leave them right there. Mr. DiGiacomo will pick them up.
I'll grab them from you. Thank you.
Are those our exhibits? Okay, perfect.
I'll give them a quick.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Statement call the next witness.
Darren Dupree.
Sure. All right, at this time we are going to take a rest and break for 15 minutes. During this recess, you are admonished not to talk or converse amongst yourselves with anyone else on any subject connected to the trial, or read, watch, or listen to any report or commentary on the trial of any person connected to this case by any medium of information, including without limitation, newspaper, television, internet, and radio, or form or express any opinion on any subject connected to the trial until the case is submitted. We'll have you guys back here at 3:15. Please. For the record, the jury executive room will be in recess.
Thank you.
record 77407. Anything we need to address before bringing the jury in?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, bring them in.
Stand for the jury.
Did you line them up? We're waiting for them. Okay. The party stipulates for the presence of the jury.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
You may be seated. All right, now the state can call their next witness.
Darren Dupree.
Good afternoon. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. You may be seated. And if you please state your full name and then spell it for the record.
Daryn, D-A-R-Y-N, Dupree, E-E.
Thank you, sir. Whenever you're ready to state, you may proceed.
Thank you. Sir, how did you use?
I was a detective for the Los Angeles,
How long were you with the LAPD?
33 and a half years,
And when did you start?
in 1990.
And through the majority of your career, what kind of crimes did you focus on?
Homicides, gang homicides.
I direct your attention to approximately 2006. Were you asked to be part of a task force related to the Christopher Wallace murder?
Yes, I was.
And can you describe that task force for us?
Robbery homicide, homicide specials, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, FBI, ATF, and DEA were all a part of the task force.
And was there a precipitating event that caused the 2006 task force to be formed?
Yeah, Christopher Wallace's mother filed a lawsuit against the Los Angeles Police Department
And what was the allegation in the lawsuit?
that there was a police officer involved in his death.
LA police officer involved? And what was the purpose of the 2006 task force?
To uncover, first of all, if there was any police officer involvement, and also to hopefully solve the Biggie Smalls murder.
Now, by 2008, this is 11 years after the homicide. I assume that there was records that the LAPD would have gathered in the investigation in the 11 years that you had access to.
Yes.
Did you guys, or did the task force formulate a plan as to how you were going to go about investigating the Christopher Wallace murder?
Yeah. There was rumors that this was a war between Southside Crips and Mob Piru. Puffy Combs labeled Bad Boy and Death Row Records. So we started there, and that consisted of coming to Vegas, getting all their files, getting up to speed on the Tupac murder. Although we weren't investigating it, we just wanted to get up to speed on it. And then starting there, everybody was a suspect at that time in the Biggie Smalls murder.
At the time you come to Vegas and learn what information the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department has, who is the detective that you're having the contact with from Metro?
Detective Dan Long.
At some point you go back investigating. Did you have any suspects that you identified and wanted to potentially look at?
From the initial investigation, Southside Compton Crip possibly had something to do with the murder because they weren't paid for the Tupac murder, and then also Death Row Records, that they were involved because of the retaliation for the Tupac murder. So, like I said, everybody was a suspect at that time.
During the course of the investigation, did you at some point focus on Duane Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Davis here in court today?
Yes.
You put him out to grab something he's wearing.
He's at the defense table with a blue shirt and a multicolored tie.
May the record reflect the identification of the defendant.
Is he wearing a jacket or no jacket? No jacket.
No jacket.
So reflected.
How is it that, how is it target Mr. Davis?
The vehicle used in the Christopher Wallace murder was a Impala. Mr. Davis had an Impala, and they had impounded it early on in the investigation. So we started him.
And did you have information related to what his position was in the Southside Crips?
I mean, we knew that Mr. Davis was the man with all the money in their hood, in their neighborhood.
Now, you said that you, what was your role in the task force?
I was the lowest level, bottom of the food chain detective. I was a gang expert, and I knew a little bit about the rap industry. So that was
That's how you got brought in?
yes.
The Southside Crips, did they have kind of two crews associated with them?
As far as I know, yes.
And one of those crews, the Burr Street crew, who was that sort of generally headed by?
It was Keffe D amongst others.
The Glencoe crew, who was sort of the leader of that group?
From what gathered, Darnell Graham.
How is it that you're going to go about investigating Mr. Davis for the Biggie Smalls murder? What's your plan?
I had never worked with the DEA, FBI. I was a homicide investigator coming in. So above my pay grade, they tried to figure out a way to get leverage on Mr. Davis through narcotic sales. We would bring him in after we caught him with narcotics and see if he would work with us and give us information on the Biggie Smalls case.
And were you able to gather enough information to potentially arrest and charge him with narcotics?
Yes.
And how much narcotics are we talking about here?
From what I remember, it was PCP, a gallon, and a kilo of cocaine, if I'm not mistaken.
And with Mr. Davis's past criminal history as well as that of drugs, what kind of sentence was he looking at, that type of drugs?
As I said, I wasn't familiar with the Fed system. From what I was told, though, that was a life sentence with the amount of drugs that were confiscated.
So once you've gathered all this evidence, do you do anything to indicate to Mr. Davis that you've got your leverage?
We met with him,
And who's we?
me and Detective Greg Cady.
And where did that meeting take place?
If I recall, it was at Mr. Davis's residence, maybe in Rancho Cucamonga or Corona. I forget the location. And we sat in his garage and we advised him of what we had. And we get an attorney and we'll meet with you a couple of days later in L.A. at the Fed building and we'll discuss it more.
Now, was there a suggestion to Mr. Davis that he shouldn't use the lawyer by the name of Edie Fall?
I don't know anything about that.
Does there come a point in time when you wind up at a meeting with Mr. Davis, his lawyer?
Yes.
And that first meeting, what are you there to talk to Mr. Davis about?
To show him the evidence that we had against him, the video surveillance that we had, we did a lot of surveillance on him, to show him everything we had and what he was looking, to receive in as a case against him.
And so do you eventually wind up in a meeting with his lawyer in either the lawyer's office or a police station to talk to him about that?
I think that first meeting was at the AUSA's office in downtown Los Angeles with him and his attorney and about 4 or 5 people from the task force.
And was there your understanding as to what the circumstances of what you could and couldn't use against Mr. Davis about what he's talking to you about?
Yes, and again, I'm just in the room. I've never even been in the AUSA's office at that time, so I'm just observing what's going on.
Did anyone use the term, "this is a proffer"?
Yes,
And was that agreement between the AUSA, do you remember that AUSA's name?
Timothy Seawright.
And do you remember the attorney for Mr. Davis, his name?
Wayne Higgins.
And so there was an agreement in that first meeting that this would be a proffer.
Yes.
During the course of that, do you ask Mr. Davis about his involvement in the Biggie Smalls murder?
Yes.
And what is his response?
At that time, he said, no, didn't have anything to do with that.
When he said, "we didn't have anything to do with that one," did it trigger anything in your mind as to what he was saying?
When I recall, yes, we were like, that one, what do you mean? And then he
What was
said,
it?
we did the other one.
He said, "we did the other one." And so, at that point, what did you think he was talking about?
Me personally, the only other one was Tupac. But we had nothing, we were talking about Christopher Wallace. We didn't ask him any questions about Tupac. He offered that on his own.
And so when he does that, is there some discussion then of maybe having a conversation about Tupac?
It was a surprise to us. Number one, we were shook. We were surprised. Yes. I mean, I don't know if we shut that meeting down then to discuss what we were going to do. I don't remember, but we were surprised.
Does there come a point in time when there's a meeting set for December 18th of 2008 to talk to Mr. Davis about the Tupac Shakur murder?
Yes.
In your understanding, was that still based upon the agreement between Wayne Higgins and the U.S. Attorney that it would be a proffer session?
Yes.
At that point, before having this conversation with Mr. Davis, has anybody notified Las Vegas that Mr. Davis is going to be talking about the Tupac Shakur murder?
Unfortunately, no.
Were you present on December 18th for an interview with Mr. Davis about the Tupac Shakur murder?
Yes.
And did you subsequently learn, or previously learn, but subsequently learn that that conversation was recorded? Do you know who recorded that statement?
One of the members of the task force, Bill Holcomb.
Did there come a point in time where you heard that recording?
Yes.
And Judge, I have marked as State's Proposed Exhibit 117, which is the actual recording, and 110, which is the transcript of that recording.
Any objection?
I think at this point, we're still lacking foundation with regards to that. The answer, the question that was asked was like, do you recognize the recording?
Okay, do you want to play
I can play part of
Maybe
that
the
recording
first
for Detective.
a couple
Kirkby.
seconds and see if he recognizes it?
Yeah, there's
Not gonna
some
hate-
walking in time, so we'll just
Well,
have to pull it
when
forward.
people
a little
actually
bit.
talk.
Yeah. I'll just jump forward. Hopefully. My volume off?
People or his associates, that's not a concern to us.
If you hadn't told Mike, we would have talked to him. We wouldn't want to talk to him.
Okay, another,
Does that sound like the conversation that was happening on December 18th, 2008 with Mr. Davis?
Yes.
And who was present at this besides yourself that you recall?
The lead detective, Detective Greg Kading, he was mostly in charge. Bill Holcomb and me. That's all I can remember.
Was Wayne Higgins present as well?
Wayne Higgins was there, and so was Mr. Davis, of course.
And do you recall where this conversation?
It might have been at Wayne Higgins' office.
As I once again reoffer 117 and 110.
Did you want to show him 110 to verify that is the transcript of it?
Oh, you want me to-
Well, that was the objection, was that
Oh,
the foundation wasn't accurate, and we talked about the first item, but not the second.
then you take a look at that. You can read through as much as it is you need to. That appear to be a transcription of that particular meeting.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's it.
Move to admit 110 and 117.
Any objection, Mr. Stampt?
No, Your Honor.
They will be admitted.
The jury is going to hear the entire thing at some point. But generally speaking, what was Mr. Davis's version as it relates to what happened with Tupac Shakur?
Mr. Davis stated that his nephew, Mr. Orlando Anderson, was jumped and beat up in a club or in a hotel in Las Vegas after the Tyson fight. He came and told Mr. Davis what happened. They went looking for Tupac, anybody who was involved, basically, in the beat down of Mr. Anderson. And they couldn't find him at first, and then they saw him, and basically, Mr. Davis had the gun at first, but they came up on the passenger side of Suge Knight and Mr. Shakur's vehicle, so he couldn't shoot across the driver. So he handed the gun to Dre in the back seat, Andre Smith. He was afraid to shoot. Mr. Anderson grabbed the gun and shot across Mr. Smith into Mr. Knight's car that Mr. Tupac Shakur was in with Mr. Knight.
And did he tell you what kind of vehicle he was in?
He was in a white Cadillac,
Did he tell you what kind of gun was used?
a .40 cal Glock.
And did he tell you after the shooting where the car went? If you recall. If you don't recall.
I don't recall.
After receiving this information in March of 2009, does the task force sign Mr. Davis up as a confidential informant?
Yes.
Once you sign up as a confidential informant, what is it that you want to do with Mr. Davis?
Figure out ways to see if he's telling the truth about his story, about what happened.
And so what do you do?
Mr. Davis had a narcotics friend in New York by the name of, he said he could, this is a lot deeper than that. Sean Puffy Combs was supposed to have given money to Zip Martin to give Mr. Davis. payment of the Tupac murder. Fast forward, we go to Mr. Davis. He says he can rekindle that relationship with Mr. Zip Martin and get him to talk about the money that was given from Sean Puffy Combs to Mr. Martin that never got to Mr. Davis.
And did you guys, or Mr. Davis, come up with a plan to get leverage on Mr. Williams, Zip? What was the idea?
Me, Detective Kading, ATF Jim Black, and Keffe D, Mr. Davis, flew to New York so Mr. Davis can work undercover to try to rekindle that friendship and business relationship with Zip.
And when Mr. Davis goes in to, do you remember the name of the club?
It's called the Zip Code in Harlem.
Does he in fact meet with Zip?
Zip, he did, but from what we gathered from Mr. Davis told us, he passed nephew, meaning Zip, passed business with him. Zip had cancer or something like that. He was sickly. He said he wasn't in the business no more, something like that. So it didn't work.
So he was unable to reestablish a business relationship and do a drug deal with Zip so that you would have leverage to then talk to Zip about what Mr. Davis. I'm just confirming the information you just provided. What?
You're just confirming that you just were provided as what?
I'm just confirming the information that he just testified to.
So then, overruled. You may answer.
Yes. The relationship.
And so you come back from New York.
Yes.
At some point, does the LAPD establish whether or not LAPD officers were involved in the murder of Mr. Wallace?
We found out that there was not any police officer involved.
And eventually, Mrs. Wallace's lawsuit is resolved.
Yes, it does.
At some point, are you directed to attend a meeting involving Wayne Higgins, Duane Davis, and Dan Long, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department investigator on Tupac Shakur?
Yes.
And on September 9th of 2009, did you in fact attend that interview?
Yes.
And was that recorded?
Yes.
This morning, did you listen to portions of that to confirm that is in fact a copy of the Tupac recording?
Yes.
And if I approach you, I forgot this one. Showing you 111, if you flip that over, take a look at it. Does that appear to be a transcript of that 2009 interview?
Yes.
Move to admit 111 and 118.
Any objection?
No objection, Mayor.
So admitted.
Finally, and I forgot to do this, during the conversation on December 18th of 2008, did you have some sort of chart that was put in front of Mr. Davis where he identified where people were in various vehicles?
Yes.
I'm showing the state's proposed exhibit number 147. Is that the chart that you had prior to the December 18th, 2008?
Yes.
Move to admit.
Any objection?
No objection.
So admitted.
Thank you, sir. I pass the witness.
Cross-examination, Mr. Swift.
It's 2.5 hours. I'm not going to play with him on the stand.
Mr. Dupree, we had some conversations here about what you did on this case. Did you ever write any reports on this?
Sure I did, yeah.
When you say you're sure did you review and report in preparation today?
I think I reviewed one report.
Which report did you review?
It was a DEA 6 passing the case, Las Vegas Metro.
And with regard to that report, did you draft that report yourself?
Yes,
When you say it's a DEA 6, is that a form?
yes,
Is that a form used by the DEA agency, I guess would be the Drug Enforcement Agency?
yes.
Did you write any reports on your own with regards to what you did within the LAPD, umbrella or report writing?
I'm sure I did.
When you say you sure did, are you telling us today that you don't know for sure what reports you wrote?
I'm saying that when you have a cold case, a lot of reports are already written. So you interview people and you do a statement on it, but the majority, this was 2006 when we started, the murders happened in 1996 and 97, so a lot of the reports were already written.
So with regards to, you're classifying this as a cold case?
Yes.
And what is a cold case to you?
It's a case that takes a long time to solve.
And with regards to the cold case, which are you talking specifically about the murder investigation of Tupac Shakur?
I'm talking about what we classified Christopher Wallace's case. I don't know if they classified Tupac a cold case at that time.
I see. So you were part of the task force specifically on Biggie Smalls, we just call him Biggie Smalls.
That's why we started the task force, because of the lawsuit.
All right, and you are classifying that as the cold case.
Yes.
So all your work would have been under the Biggie Smalls investigation, not necessarily under the Tupac case that we're here for today.
Yes.
And so with regards to your actions on the Biggie Smalls case, a lot of what you're doing sort of blends into, at least some of it blends into the Tupac investigation, but that wasn't your investigation.
No.
That was Metro's investigation.
Yes.
Now, on the day that we're talking about here, and this would be under the recordings that you had from the 2008 proffer, did you set those up?
No.
Who set them up?
Probably the lead investigator, Greg Kading.
Okay, and with regards to Greg Kading, you're his partner.
In a task force configuration, you might peel off with one person more than the other, so I would say me and him did a lot of work together.
And with regards to what he is that he's also a fellow LAPD detective.
Yes.
All right. And so with regards to your being, let's say not part of the task force, were you ever his partner outside of the task force?
I met Detective Kading at Wilshire Homicide. Wilshire Homicide is the area that Christopher Wallace was actually in. Robbie Homicide inherited the case or took the case because they had more resources to work. Me and Greg worked together at Wilshire Homicide. Greg Kading started this task force, and he brought me over years later to this task force.
I see. So up until that point when he brought you over, you guys weren't partners?
No, he was working narcotics. Greg knows the narcotics FBI DEA system very well. I didn't.
All right. And so in terms of your awareness about the Tupac investigation, when were you first made aware of the Tupac investigation?
Through the media, as soon as it happened.
Right.
I mean, everybody knew about that.
And in terms of, though, your involvement or the official, are you telling us it's at the time of the proffer that you become sort of more involved in the Tupac?
At the time that Mr. Davis offered the information that he offered is when we even thought about doing anything with Tupac.
But isn't it true, though, that you actually were more aware, you actually were that Detective Long was the Metro detective on this case as early as 2004?
I didn't start until 2006, so I just knew he was the investigator assigned to the case when I got there.
I see. So 2006, you would have been aware Detective Long was the investigator from Metro?
Maybe 2006, 2007, when we decided to come out to Vegas and gather intel on the Tupac case, just for investigative reasons.
Okay. And with regards to your participation in the task force, was there a name for the task force?
Christopher Wallace Task Force.
Okay, so it's the Christopher Wallace Task Force. And you first contact Mr. Davis on, looks like November 21st, 2008. Is that about right?
I don't remember the dates, but
Okay. Now, in terms of your, you're saying, though, that your review of the evidence in preparation for today's, or your reports in preparation for today's testimony just consisted of the DEA 6 form?
yes.
Now, at the time of November 21st, 2008, you and Greg Kading are the ones who initially contacted Mr. Davis, right? You didn't do it by yourself.
No, me and Mr. Katie.
Okay. And you basically advised him at that particular point that, he was potentially looking at an indictment for narcotics. Is that right?
Something to that effect, yes.
Yeah. And once again, you're doing this because you are targeting Mr. Davis who may have been a suspect in the Biggie Smalls murder.
Yes.
Okay. Now, at some point, I would assume in the future, you're going to tell all of us that he was no longer a suspect in that murder, right?
That is correct.
You found information that were indicating that the car that was potentially the car used in the Biggie Smalls murder was not his vehicle, maybe somebody else was there. And there were some issues with regards to his location that he wouldn't have been the one to be the shooter in the case.
Whatever the reasons, I just know he wasn't involved in the Biggie Smalls murder.
Okay. And then with regards to your conversation with Mr. Davis, when you had that conversation at his home, you talked about being in the garage of his home at Rancho Cucamonga. Is that what it was?
I forget the city, but it's out east.
Okay.
That's where he lived at the time.
And you had at some point told him that maybe he should retain an attorney to handle the issues because he was going to be dealing with the United States Attorney Timothy Sealwright. You remember having that conversation with him?
I don't think we threatened him or anything like that. We just advised him that, hey man, we got some information, we got some things that you were involved in, and we need to talk to you. So we need to meet with you, with your attorney, at the AUSA's office.
Now, at the time that you had Mr. Davis, you advised him that not to bring an attorney, which would have been Edie Fall, to that conversation, right?
No.
You advised him to actually bring this other attorney, Wayne Higgins. That would have been a brand new attorney for Mr. Davis, correct?
No. I didn't even know Mr. Higgins at that time.
Now, in terms of your, the meeting, Mr. Higgins shows up with Mr. Davis, and then there's a conversation between Mr. Higgins and Seawright regarding the proffer agreement, but that wasn't with you being present in the room. Fair?
No, I wasn't
Okay.
present.
Now, you had, though, at some point being informed that there was a proffer agreement, and then there was follow-up interviews that occur as a result, right?
That's correct.
So this is just not one interview. This is multiple interviews.
Yes.
Now, can you tell us, for instance, how many interviews there were?
That I was involved in, the first meeting at his house in the garage, the first meeting with the AUSA, and then the meeting at Wayne Higgins. But mind you, like I told you, I flew to New York with Mr. Davis. So we were out there for 3 or 4 days.
I'm talking more about specifically the actual meetings in which you're sitting down and asking questions of Mr. Davis.
2.
So that would be the initial meeting with United States Attorney Seawright in the room, and then the second meeting was, I'm sorry, at what time?
That was with Mr. Higgins at his office on Wilshire Boulevard, if I'm not mistaken. I forget the date.
Okay, would that be October or December 18th,
2008.
2008?
Yes.
Do you recall actually being involved in a meeting or being knowledgeable of a meeting that took place on December 1st, 2008?
No.
How about a meeting that took place on January 7th, 2009?
I don't recall. No.
How about another meeting that occurred on February 11th, 2009?
I don't recall any of those dates.
Okay.
I just remember the 3 that we dealt with.
Right. And once again, you're refreshing your recollection off of a DEA 6 form, correct?
No, I'm refreshing my recollection off my recollection.
30 years later?
That's right. And about 20 murder trials.
Right.
Of my own.
Which is amazing. Good job.
It's not amazing, just doing my job.
This jury understands. We're refreshing your recollection off of a DEA 6 form.
No. The DA 6 form that I saw this morning was transferring the case from the DEA to Las Vegas Metro. That's all that said this morning.
All right. So this is all purely off of your recollection from 30 years ago.
Well, 17, 18 years ago when we got it. The
Okay.
case was 30 years ago. But
Right.
we had it in 2006.
And 20 murder trials later,
That's right.
you're refreshing. Okay.
right.
So let's keep going through it. So your testimony here is that at the time of the meeting on December 18th, 2008, you were present for that meeting.
Yes.
And the other people that were present for that meeting was Detective Katie, LAPD Detective William Holcomb, FBI Special Agent Bennett.
Yes. I didn't mention him, but he was there. Yes.
Okay. And then was anybody else there present?
Mr. Davis and Mr. Higgins.
And then outside of those, was anybody from the United States Attorney's Office present?
At the first one in 2008, I think, not in 2009. For sure, not 2009. I could say that.
Okay, but I want to make sure we're precise for this jury.
Okay.
On December 8th, was the United States Attorney present for that meeting?
Yes.
Now, in addition to that, the recording that had occurred introduced into evidence in this case, where's the attorney knew about?
Which one? 2008 or 2009?
2008.
2008? I don't know.
Sure. And with regard to the FBI agent that was there, are you aware of what's called a 302? What is a 302?
It's a report, information report that they write out, kind of like the DEA 6, kind of.
Yeah. And in terms of how the 302 works is they don't actually record information with a recorder. They actually just write things down into the 302, right?
That's correct.
In this particular case, was Special Agent Bennett aware that there was a recording?
I have no idea.
Now, in addition to that, on March 9th, you had said that something that there was acted into informant. So I think it's around that time period, right, of 2009. Between what time periods did Mr. Davis give information to LAPD as a confidential informant? Do you remember?
I don't remember how many times we met or how many times I was involved in speaking to him. But it's just those 3 times, the first time in his garage, 2008, 2009, and then when we went to New York. That's all my dealings with Mr. Davis was that I can remember.
The 2008 proffer that you were a part of, did you verify any of the information?
That Mr. Davis told us?
Yeah.
We were trying to verify as much as we could.
Okay.
That's
Well,
why we-
tell us the efforts. No, I'm sorry. Can you tell this jury the efforts that you made to verify the information that he gave you in 2008?
Flying to New York to try to get the relationship with Zip, Mr. Martin, because he was involved here in Vegas with the murder and the large sum of money that was supposed to be given to Mr. Martin to give to Mr. Davis. So that's why we flew to New York, to try to get that whole thing going.
Right. And based upon your efforts, were you able to verify that any of that information to be true?
No.
Now, to that, there was other information that Mr. Davis gave up in 2008 in December. Did you verify any of that other information to be true?
I don't think any other information that he gave us was anything except the murder of Tupac.
Sure. Did you at any point verify, for instance, the people that he identified in the vehicle?
No.
You are aware, of course, that some of the people that he had identified in the vehicle were still alive in 2008, right?
One was.
Who was that?
That was Terrence Brown.
Okay. Did you ever verify that Terrence Brown was in Las Vegas at the time of the murder?
We never got a chance to.
Why not?
As I said, our first course of action was to tie in Mr. Combs, the money, and work back from there.
So you fly to New York, it's a bust, back, and then you never follow up on what happens with regard to Mr. Brown?
I didn't.
You're part of the task force.
Yes.
Do you know if anybody else on the task force verified that information, that Mr. Brown was in Las Vegas at the time of the shooting?
No.
Now, in addition to that, we talked a little bit about the type of scenario that Mr. Davis is in, right? He's being targeted as a potential suspect. You develop information about it, right?
Yes.
And you had said, I think there was it how much time was he looking at? Life sentence?
I think so, yes.
Right, pretty heavy sentence, right?
Yes.
And so you had also targeted the idea, though, that it wasn't just him moving some large amount. It was people coming into his house, potentially his family. People could be arrested, his friends, for instance, that was part of that, and they all could go to prison, right?
I will say this. Mr. took the hit for a lot of people in his family, and his kids, his wife. That's why he did a lot of the stuff he did. I will say that.
And I appreciate you saying that. And so, in essence, he said, okay, this is all on me. I will take the hit for the family.
Yes.
Now, in terms of the way that you recall how he describes what happens and so forth, you had mentioned that he's in the car, he drives up next to the other car, and then he gives the gun to the back seat because he was going to do the shooting, and then he gives it to somebody else. And then I guess it was Dre said, no, I can't do it, and then Orlando fires the gun.
Yes.
Okay. So the four individuals that are in the car, and then Mr. Brown,
Driver.
and then Mr. Smith, and then Mr. Orlando Anderson.
That's correct.
Okay. Do you, at some point, these people come back to Compton, right? Were there any, as far as you know, did anyone attempt to kill Orlando for being the shooter in the vehicle of Tupac Shakur?
I don't know if anyone tried to kill Mr. Anderson, but a lot of other people got shot and killed.
Sure. And so what other people that you recall were being shot and killed?
I don't have the list of people who I know. Darnell Graham got shot, and then an 11-year-old girl got shot. Off the top of my head, I can remember those two. It was war. Compton's 10 square miles, and all of these people know each other from growing up. It was people standing, they were hiding out, walking the streets.
But in terms of the four that's in the vehicle, was Mr. Shot?
No, not that I know.
And what about the other person, Mr. Besides Mr. Davis?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Not that I know of. No.
And then with regards to Mr. Davis, was he shot at?
No, not that I know of.
And once again, this idea is talking about a very compact area of Las Vegas, 10 by 10 miles, multiple blood and Crip gangs just encroached upon one another, right? It's basically like a powder keg.
Street by street.
Right. And in terms of retribution, pretty clear this would be an immediate thing because Tupac Shakur was shot and killed.
Yes.
And Death Row Records, as a member of the mob Pyru, would have been definitely out for blood on that.
Yes.
But none of those four individuals were shot at.
No, not that I know of.
Yeah. And in fact, just to make sure I'm clear, Orlando Anderson was actually shot and killed probably about a year and a half later, right?
Unrelated, yes.
Yes, and it was unrelated, meaning that people that he got into a gunfight with was actually other Crips.
Yes.
Right? And it was over money, as far as you can recall.
Yes.
Now, there was some discussion, are you aware of a person by the name of Darnell Bryn?
Yes.
Darnell Brim is, and I think there was two different sets in the Southside Crips.
Yes.
One set was the Burr Street set,
Correct?
and that would be Burr Street where Mr. Davis lived on,
Yes.
as well as members of his family and so forth, right?
Yes.
The other set was the set that Darnell Brim was in charge of.
From what I hear. I work Compton PD, but from what I hear, yes.
Okay. And with regards to Mr. Brim, he was killed pretty much immediately after the shooting of Tupac Shakur.
Mr. Brim is still alive as far as I know.
Oh, you're right. He was shot, though, right?
He was shot.
And then he went to prison for some unrelated matter, something to do with drugs.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in terms of Mr. Brim, was there ever a conversation with Mr. Brim to determine or have questions asked with regards to Tupac Shakur?
When we started, again, I started in 2006. Those questions would be asked of Mr. Brim when he was shot in 96, 97. Those types of things we could have gotten to. But like I said, our first course of action was to solidify where the money came from. If Mr. Combs was involved, and was Mr. Davis telling the truth about being paid for the murder of Tupac Shakur.
And outside of that, any additional sort of boots in the ground discussions or investigation and comment was handled by somebody else?
The initial, the preliminary,
Right.
and if we would have gotten to that, we probably would have talked to people, but I'm sure that they were talked to already. This is on a Fed level trying to get a RICO case against people. Okay, this is a whole different level of Compton.
Sure.
ATF, DEA. This is trying to death row records and was built on narcotics and bad boy records. Now, you don't understand this, but I'm from the hood. Everybody knows it was. Okay? Everybody knows that those record companies were started with the sales of narcotics. So the feds were looking at a RICO. We heard about the murders. So this was chasing the money. This was chasing Sean Combs to see if he was involved. You know.
And so once you determined that he's given information not because of Big Smalls, but rather because of Shakur, you never once reached out to Metro at that time to say, hey, Las Vegas, you guys are the ones in charge of this murder. Come down to have an interview with Davis?
The decisions were, again, way above my pay grade. And our command staff, whoever made that decision to keep it in-house and for us to handle it on the Fed level, because it would have spread all the way to Las Vegas and not notify Las Vegas Metro at that time, wasn't my decision.
I see. So had it been somebody up the chain, maybe even the United States Attorney?
Whoever.
See, right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not your call to make.
No, I'm just a soldier. Okay.
Right. I appreciate that. Now, in addition to that, sir, in terms of the in point, your other LAPD detective leaves the LAPD. Greg Cady.
Yes. In 2011, I think.
And in 2011, I believe he publishes a book.
Yes.
And that book is called Murder Rap.
Yes.
Did you read that book?
Parts of it.
All right. And fair to say, of course, is that if you saw something in the book that was not accurate, you probably tell Greg Cady, hey, this is not accurate, this is not right.
I wouldn't tell him nothing. That's
Oh,
his version. He did what he wanted to do.
Right. Okay, so it's his version of events. You would have been like, okay, this is not right about what I did. I'm just going to leave it alone because that's what Greg Cady interpreted it to be.
I'm saying I was on the law Biggie Smalls by myself, and whatever came from any books that were written, it was my responsibility to make sure that everybody was okay if they were outed in that book. So I'm not going to tell another man what he should and shouldn't do when he's writing a book. If you want to write a book, write a book. If it comes back my way and I got to investigate something you said, then I'll do that.
So this individual, Greg Cady, leaves LAPD and takes the Tupac file with him?
From what I hear,
Meaning he stole the file.
something.
In addition to that, he also took the Biggie file, right, with him when he left.
From what I hear, I've never seen him, but that's what I hear.
Okay. And with regards to the recording that we're talking about here, that recording was a recording that he published, at least brought it out to the public, not you.
You will never see me on a podcast, a book, nothing like that.
Yeah.
So, and you never have.
Now, in terms of, though, just your understanding and, being in LA and so forth, Greg Kading has made appearances on podcasts and other things as well, right?
Yes.
And also that would be with documentaries.
Yes.
But at least you're still abiding by the rules and that kind of thing. You would never do that.
I stick to the code. Okay, I'm abide by the streets. You're not going to see me on there telling about what somebody else did. This is the only time you're going to see me talking about what somebody did, sitting in this chair.
And I appreciate that, sir.
Other than that, you'll never see me doing that.
Okay. And with regards to your participation in interviews, during the time period that you're hearing Mr. Davis talk about these things, were you aware at all that he was recommended that this other attorney step in for his attorney E.D. Falls and basically have this conversation?
No, to my knowledge from the media, I thought E.D. Fall would have been his attorney. So I don't know anything about that. Again, that was way above my, whatever I was doing. I never talked to Mr. Davis. I didn't know Mr. Higgins at that point.
Okay.
So,
Were you aware that when Metro was finally notified?
yes,
When was that?
the 2009 interview,
Did you make that call to Metro?
chain of command. Somebody upstairs called Vegas when we disbanded our unit. Our case was going back to our DA. Las Vegas Metro, they were going to take over their case. So somebody in our chain of command reached out to somebody in Metro, I guess, and said, hey, we got some information for you. Somebody needs to talk to you about Tupac. I knew Detective Dan Long. It trickled all the way down to us. Either he called me or I called him and set up the interview.
Did you tell Detective Long when he appeared here in LA for the interview with Mr. Davis that he had given a proffer in 2008?
Yes, I think he was aware of what we had. Unfortunately, he was aware of what we had done to that point, yes.
Meaning that you had a conversation with him, say, hey, by the way, there was a proffer in place in 2008. Here's the information.
I'm sure I did. I don't recall if I told him whatever, but he was aware that we had been delegated.
So, and once again, that proffer agreement between you, the government, or the various people of the task force, plus up until that point, there was no violation of that agreement, right?
Not to my knowledge, I don't know.
Right, meaning that, for instance, Mr. Davis didn't do anything that would say, hey, you violated the terms of this agreement.
No, I never used that term with him because, no.
Right, but at the same time, your higher-ups felt at this particular point, yeah, give the information that you just learned about Mr. Davis from 2008, give that to Metro, right?
Yes.
And once again, and I want to make sure I'm clear because I don't want to forget this question, you didn't verify anything outside of the P. Diddy potential payment that was the part of that you were looking at.
Yes.
So everything else would have been going back to Detective Long to do his investigation in Las Vegas about the information given to him by Mr. Davis?
He was going to be aware of that, yes.
Okay. But once again,
But they already, that was already out. Just hearing Mr. Davis say it kind of solidified it, that we need to look more into this part of it, instead of it just being Tupac getting killed, Death Row, and Southside, they were involved.
yeah, but I think we're here for a slightly different purpose. We're in Las Vegas, and we just want to know what facts were presented or at least established with regards to this situation. You're telling me Detective Long would have been willing to verify whether Mr. Brown was here in Las Vegas, whether any of the other individuals in the vehicle that was represented to you was actually here in Las Vegas to establish that, right? That was his job, not yours.
Yeah, on the murder.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Now, there was some activity that happened in Compton. I just want to make sure I'm clear. You weren't part of any of the investigation in Compton with regards to the gang issues and so forth. You weren't part of that.
No.
That would have been somebody else from Compton.
Compton and Metro and whoever else.
Okay. You know, I just have one quick.
Yeah. Court's indulgence, sure.
Your Honor, I pass the witness. Thank you.
Okay. Any redirect, Mr. Juckman?
Just briefly, you brought up the fact that Mr. Davis said, well, basically, Sean Puffy Combs solicited the murder of Shogun Tupac during the course of that conversation.
Yeah.
Did the conversation occurred?
It's a deli called Greenblatt's, still there on Sunset in Hollywood in Los Angeles.
If he never provides that portion of the information, what jurisdiction would LA have to be investigating a homicide that occurred in Las Vegas? None?
No.
So it was that piece of information which provided LAPD jurisdiction to even be looking at this murder.
You say that. But like it's on the Fit RICO, that would have got incorporated into the RICO, the murder anyway, and that's what we were looking at. But yes, that's where it started, so you can use that also.
And so when you were unable to confirm through ZIP the Puffy Combs angle of the case, at some point your agency said, hey, we got to tell Vegas what we've been doing.
Yes.
And at that point, Dan Long comes down, and you are in a room with Dan Long, Mr. Davis, lawyer, and there's a conflict.
That's correct.
At that time, the only person left alive in the vehicle was Terrence Bubba Brown, right?
Yes.
Mr. Brown was a resident of LA, correct?
Correct.
And was there at least a discussion between you and Dan, hey, if Mr. Brown ever gets himself into some real trouble, maybe we'll have some leverage to talk to Mr. Brown?
Yes.
And then unfortunately Mr. Brown got killed as well.
Yes.
And so the last person alive in the vehicle is Mr. Davis.
That's correct.
Nothing further.
Anything further, Mr. Sand?
Okay, so what investigation with Mr. Brown have we talked about? You wouldn't be able to verify information about where he was, whether or not he was in Las Vegas, right? You're saying. You, with Mr. Brown.
We able to?
Yeah.
We could have. Yes.
Right.
We would have got to that. Yeah.
Sure. And with regard to that, you didn't make that effort while he was still alive. And would it be fair to say, of course, that even if someone had passed, that you would still need to verify what Mr. Davis said to you, regardless of whether or not the person was passed or not?
We would have to verify everything.
Right.
And like I said, the start of it was Sean Puffy Combs, so that's where we started.
Sure. And your focus is a little different, but in terms of the actual murder of Tupac Shakur, information with regards to, you know, these other individuals in the car, that would have been given to Metro here in Las Vegas. Okay. No further questions.
State, anything further?
Yes, one follow-up. In your 34 years, 20 homicide trials, ever made a case on a guy confessing to a homicide?
Yeah, I've had a couple confessions. Yeah.
When you were talking to Mr. Davis and he's telling you what he's telling you, did you have reason to doubt his version of events as it relates to the homicide itself?
I didn't think Mr. Davis was lying because he put the gun in his nephew's hand. And if anybody knows anything, from what I hear, Mr. Orlando Anderson was man besides Keffe D in that neighborhood. He was the prince, and his family loved him. I didn't think that Mr. Davis would put the gun in his own nephew's hand, dead or alive, and put that smut on him unless it was true. The person that killed Tupac, well, in the neighborhood, he's a hero. In the world, he's a villain. So I didn't think me really do that unless it was true with his own nephew, because I know he loved his nephew. They all loved Orlando.
And so that picture, and now it's 2008. I mean, let me ask you this: was Tupac Shakur?
Yes, but had he would have been legendary if he lived.
And in 2008, he is legendary at that point.
But he's dead.
And if it gets out that Mr. Davis has said his nephew pulled the trigger, would there be consequences for his neighborhood?
I mean, just the way it looks, him being a hero, meaning Tupac to the world, and then this gang, like I said, in the streets, in his hood, Orlando wasn't looked at that, but people are going to always say the Southsiders, the ones who killed Tupac, Nipsey Hussle, all these people who are, that's what comes with that. Now, you could wear a badge and act like it's something in your hood, but that's not a good thing to be, remember as the person that killed Tupac, even though what happened to Mr. Orlando Anderson wasn't right.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Anything further based on that?
Yes, Your Honor. So I just want to make sure I'm clear. You go to Mr. Davis because he's the target of Biggie Smalls' murder.
Yes.
You interview him, and at some point in the future, you determine that Mr. Davis is not involved in Biggie Smalls' murder.
Yes.
While you're in the room showing him the information that you have about the drug aspect of it, a life sentence potentially, and everyone in his family or people in his family and friends potentially getting all in the middle of that with all kinds of problems, right?
Yes.
He decides to take the hit, as like you said, right? And hey, I don't have anything about Biggie Smalls, which you now have confirmed he had nothing to do with Biggie Smalls, so he had no information. He says, I actually have information, and Orlando Anderson is one of those people, right? And at the time he says it, Orlando's actually dead, right? And people in the community of Compton had all had this sort of thing going on that potentially Orlando Anderson was involved in the murder of Tupac, correct?
Correct.
So that information was available to Mr. Davis when he gave you that information, right?
Yes.
But once again, you were targeted for Biggie Smalls, and there was no information that would say he was involved in Biggie Smalls, so he couldn't give you any of that information, right? No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything further, Mr. DiGiacomo?
Okay.
I've lost track of how many redirects we're on, so.
Sorry.
All right. You're okay, guys. Any questions from the jury? Looking at that side of the box? No? Okay. Oh, we do have one. Okay. We have a few. All right, a question from one of our jurors for you. For clarity, the feds were more worried about the bigger fish and the whole puzzle rather than the pieces, being you had the information from Keffe and didn't need to put it together.
Yes, they were worried about the bigger picture, but this is 2000, and the smaller sort of investigations on both cases had already been run to ground. You needed to come with a different type of investigation to try to see if you can get it. So that's why Detective Kading, the LAPD, that's why he brought in the FBI, ATF, DEA, other agencies to all help to try to solve both cases. Once he found out what Mr. Davis had said. It was Biggie Smalls at first, and then it went to Tupac Shakur.
Okay. Any follow-up questions based on that, Mr. DiGiacomo?
No.
Any follow-up questions based on that, Mr. Sanders?
No.
Okay, you faked us out again. All right, you are free to go. Thank you so much, Mr. Dupree.
Your Honor, one quick thing before the witness leaves.
Oh.
May we approach?
If you want to just have him wait in the hall, or do you want him to wait?
If you can just be back on the stand for a second.
Oh, okay. Mr. Dupree, as you discussed earlier with the parties, you may be subject to recall in this case, but it would be okay to do it via Zoom. If you could refrain from, you're ordered not to discuss your testimony with anyone else in this case until you are released from that potential recall. Okay, thank you. You are now free to go. All right, State, what did you want to present next?
2008 statement, so we fill up the rest of the day.
Okay.
But we have at least one witness tomorrow, so we'll call that witness tomorrow and then probably continue on the rest of the day with the rest of the statements.
Does it make sense then? All right.
Does it make, I mean,
Go
unless
ahead.
the court wants us to call the witness tomorrow at 1 and then start the statements. I
think that might make the most sense.
there's just more time in the statements than there is in the day tomorrow. So we still don't
If we
finish
play
it.
the half hour today, will that finish it out tomorrow?
It all depends on Mr. Sham's cross of the witness.
Well, Your Honor, Your Honor, there's two statements, right? I play one of the statements after the witness tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we have a subsequent statement. We're also playing that we introduced through Mr. Dupree. So.
And none of them will finish in the half hour. The 35 minutes we have left.
That's correct.
That is correct.
All right. I'm going to have the jury. I'm just going to have the jury leave a little bit early today. We'll have them back at 1 o'clock tomorrow. All right. During this recess, you are admonished not to talk or converse amongst yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected to the trial, or read, watch, or listen to any report or commentary on the trial of any person connected to this case by any medium of information, including without limitation, newspaper, television, the internet, and radio, or form or express any opinion on any subject connected with the trial until the case is submitted to you. We'll see you guys back here at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you.
Stand adjourned.
For the record, the jury has exited the room. Anything we need to address outside the presence?
Nothing stated.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay, I think it just makes more sense to play that as a block as opposed to a half hour, and I didn't realize we were breaking it up between a witness in between, so. Okay, I apologize for any inconsistency up the back. All right, we'll be in recess. We'll see everyone back at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Thank you, Judge.
Ceilings 3, Little Wayne. Beauty in the beat, it's pretty ugly what I do to any beat, ayy. Man, hallelujah, nigga, preach it. Wanna lay up, but I shoot too many threes, God. Damn, not a mood, I gotta speak, and I've been speaking for myself. I thought of using Robert Leach. I just bought Barbie a gift, and it's a Uzi, got a pink. Should I teach her how to shoot it? She might take a shot at me. We some killers, runners, bitch. Let's kill a beat, kill, prescription refill. Pop a pill and be still. Not for nothing, for the most, we hold a toast at each meal. Like a flip a J meal to a fucking meat meal. Knock on wood, it might answer back when you get real. Fuck your bitch, totally hit me back when I clean heel. Like a roller blunt faster than you get your ears pierced. I'll shoot your ass exactly where you get your ears pierced. Never seen a bigger ticket than this little bitty nigga. New Orleans bury me up in the middle of it, nigga. I've been peeping, I've been squinting, and it's tipping. See a limit higher than my limitations. And the fucking Himalayas, and I'm starting on my neighbors. And the blunt as long as cables. Left some hundreds on the table. That was our paper towels. Left my number for the waitress. She was flirting, I embraced it. Now I'm fucking her and a woman I was on a date with. I'm a god among Satans. I'm a doctor, lost patience. I went from the judge sentence to a fucking fashion statement. Disappear like David Blaine when it come to affidavits. Aphrodisiac all on your bitch face like aftershave. I never met Captain Save him. Army barely yet a Navy. War sweater for the ladies. Pockets heavy, set inflated. Diplomatic, got me faded. Tell a chef that I'm the gravy. My bitch pussy holes so deep, feel like I'm stepping out the grave. And that's the beauty in it. Beauty in the beat. Stepping out the pussy, therapeutic from my feet. Ay, man, hallelujah, nigga, preach it. Wanna lay up, I've been shooting too many threes, God. Damn, it's the beauty in the beat. But it get pretty ugly what I do to any beat. Ay, man, hallelujah, nigga, preach. And you the only one that left the funeral in peace, yeah. It's beautiful, 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 it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So it's beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, 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 beautiful. It's beautiful. What's up with CJ? OVO crew, let's go. No loot, yeah. No loot, yeah. No loot, paid off, cause I know these niggas ain't getting real money. I know them niggas ain't gon' die for ya. I know these niggas ain't gon' kill nothing. I know these bitches ain't gon' live for me. Now I'm wiped up, these hoes ain't hearing from me. Eyes wide shut, these hoes ain't see it coming. I'ma go nuts in these hoes. Drip peanut butter, love your rabbit, he ain't make it home. For the panic, we'll take it on. Drug habit, need to take it easy, cause if she lose that, she gon' take it hard. Rated RL15, working like a street team with an A&R. Empty the magazine, all the pages fall. By the time I leave, you done read them all. BERC, yeah. Purpose that guy, nigga. Percolating pussy ass nigga. Perpetrating and impersonating those cockroaches. I'm the exterminator. Make a nigga eat his own words and regurgitate him. Make a nigga see his own blood. Start urinating. Blood game, blood like blood. We be swimming. Power in the morning. Leave him looking turkey bacon. I'ma keep the chopper shined up like a turkey glazing. Codeine got us looking like turtles racing. Purple drink, weed and heart. I'm a purple raises. I'm with the perfect bitch looking for her replacement. With a curvy bitch coming around the curves, I'm racing. The cardio watch it deserve the bracelet. From the school of hard knocks, I'm a murder major. A bitch tongue twisted, sperm tornado. Taylor design that they saying that they see me. Niggas just blind to the bag, no 3D. Down with the diamonds, I'm wearing like HD. Panoramic plasma, big screen, man on fire. 500 degrees. Lambo fire, BB way too high, don't bother to reach me. Rest in peace, mama and GG fast. Trippin' nigga, always trippin', but I never fall. Them bitch ass little niggas say they got your back against the wall. I'm a rich ass little nigga, get back after back, and I ball. Shots to the back of his skull. She put his head in her hands and this up. I might just bring her ass in the stall. Break her ass like the laws, then take her ass to my dog. Then they treat her ass like a dog, then they feed her ass to the dogs. That Draco attached to me arm, and that whole long ass up a tongue. Cause they go my back and my arms. I spray leave your ass on the lawn. Then take all your cash and your coins. That bitch is from Louis Vuitton to DCD. That ass slime, cause I really got a whole bad bitches bustin'. All these bitches love me. Lot of hoes on the side right in front of my nose. They just don't. These hoes above me. Vroom, vroom, blue juice, yeah, straight. leg on, yeah. No, these bitches ain't gonna live for me. White girl, 90, these hoes ain't see coming. I'ma go nuts on these hoes, they're peanut butter. No, that bitch. TCTG. Stay up, I pick that 669, that's a night. By my six pack, I'm with my slime. Treat a toe tag like I treat a tag. We sing it to a different world. Please say how I look like the 10 man. Some cheat partner, I'm about to water that bitch in place. You kick it off, I kick your ass. Don't be those ain't on this dick. On micromanaging person said tomorrow I'ma quit and then tomorrow water running. Need some water, I'ma pop me up so nigga. I woke up like this, bring it home the bacon like a pig style over here, bitch. Pig style over here. Down the fried over here. Pig style. Lord, every day that's on artists. Take this heavy water. Hoes on this corner, now I'm golfing. Ricky Follow on the farm. I get my shot up, cover your church and Peter Pop up. Pop up, Peter Pop up, whatever. For real, skate for real, my niggas raised for real. Yeah, get ready to kill, get ready to speed hill. She head over heels, she taking the stick, give her the craziest thrills. I'm jail to finish, trading my crib back for the deal. I'm way ahead of the field, these niggas better for real, got me to the hill. Smelling like Draymond for real, go see one more. One way, hit one more, 24. Cabbage shining like the glass, Ricky low. Hit the toe, here we go. I cannot tell if you really real, I can't take the loss, I can't take the L. I'm famous as hell, but I ain't really well, but I'm hanging in there like that. The bell, I'm blood as fuck. Fitness cause I'm out of drugs. I'm calling bluff. She gon' be up till I sick. I go minute. She said tomorrow she gon' be water. I'ma pop me up. And it go where I sell. I do this on my bitch, nigga. Like this, pigs get fed, house get slaughtered. Every day that's slowing orders. Stick his head, boiling water, leak 18 holes on his corner. Now I'm golfing, Ricky Follow on the farm. Get my shot up, come in your jersey, Peter. Come in your jersey, Peter. Come in your jersey, Peter. Whatever. Anthem pot, no ceilings, 3, Little Wayne. Wait, my flag gon' pick up a show. 365 to the pro. Lean, I run through a pine like a fool. Run through a pine like a hoe. Ting. Bad little bitch in mine. I'ma ice a whole lot. Bad little bitch in mine. I'ma ice a whole lot. I ran through the pine like a fool. Pine like a hoe. Ting in mine. I'ma ice a whole lot. Bad little bitch in mine. I'ma ice a whole lot. I'm sitting serve like water. Yeah. Like a nerd out, oh yeah. Okay, you know, don't call them, yeah. And these niggas ain't eat, they starving. I'm over here eating like a wall. They ain't trying to pull it off. She ain't trying to pull the victim. Gotta sleep on the job. Woke up and rekindle. Turn the buzz to a blender. Lean, I run through a play like a fool. Do a beat like a oh. Ting. Bad little bitch in mine. Whole life. Bad little bitch in mine. I'm a whole life. Shoot shit up for short. Get shit up for strong. Young nigga run up the miles on the range. How could you blame me? To the cash, this shit is a star, but I'm got your little boy on my heard a bitch.
I drink lean till I fall asleep. Whoa. I smoke weed till I pass out. Roll up, double lock when I bag out. Cock my Glock, then I smash out. She looked too good, I told her lay it down. My first investment was a trap house. From the gutter, but still ain't got shit to complain about. Don't make me send them boys through and clean you out. Rich nigga, bad bitch riding with me. Dope dealer on the E-way doing 150. Yeah. Pull up at the party like, man, this shit lit it. Yeah. Told my nigga whatever you with, I'm with it. Yeah. Just thinking out loud. I'm rich as a bitch. LOL, but I'm still with the shit. I'm still with the shit. I'm rich as a bitch, but I'm still with the shit. Just thinking out loud. I'm rich as a bitch. I'm rich as a bitch, but he still with the shit. I just hit a lick. Now I'm ballin' like a bitch. Ballin' like a bitch. Ballin' like a bitch. Got a $250,000 on me and a stick. Shitting on the industry is evident. Police don't got a search warrant, they ain't coming in. I'm fresh up out the car like nigga once again. My wrist Atlantic Ocean, my neck Pacific Ocean. If I said it, bitch, you better know I meant it. Water. My grandma was my mama and the streets was my father. Your conversation ain't about money, then why bother? What? Just thinking out loud. I'm rich as a bitch. LOL, but I'm still with the shit. I'm still with the shit. I'm rich as a bitch, but I'm still with.
Tweaking, get y'all mans in them. Niggas be acting like fans and then let a bitch go and shenan. Not realizing that she gon' shenan again. I'm sticking to code. Me, I got bitches that mac on bitches. They give me the hoes. All of my bitches be pimping. Even my exorcism. Emily Rose. Damn it, I'm acting a fool again. Smooth and trim. Invite a bitch over to watch Hulu. And then she don't fuck that I'm treating this hoe like a hooligan. Cause I'm not a regular nigga. I fuck on my bitch and she say my nigga extracurricular activities. I've been bagging TDs. Niggas just stacking my skrilla. They probably told you not to fuck with the kid, cause that would be pedophilia. I'm recalling all of the bills that I stacked. I remember them bitches for memorabilia. I ain't got no ceilings, my bitches vanilla. A nigga been chillin' so hot that I seal, so I'm really a skillet. Bitch, I'm the one and I'm still not the one shit. I'm really a riddle. Got a young nigga on the way like a stocking cap with more hits than a boxing match. Bitch, I strike like a boxing match. Niggas see me, you know they can't touch me. I'm holographic. They dreaded like Rasta fashion dog shit. I'm a cocker spaniel, Dwayne Johnson, rocker bastard. My nigga said he ain't practicing say sex when he tell you he'll cock a magnum. Tell him hoes I'm dead fresh. I don't wear clothes no more. I'ma walk around rocking caskets. I say fuck the world when I bust. I'm a combinations. They gon' think I'm a locker, damn it. And can't been rowdy. Yeah. Nigga can't been rowdy. Yeah. Look, seem like the more that I teach him, the dumber I get. I'ma stop trying to help a nigga. I done took too many losses when I done went right. I think I'ma go left a little. I'm about to be thunder kicking, taking niggas. Gotta flush them out. We ain't gonna take the niggas. Chill alone, wanna have to check a nigga. Really reckon shit is how I reckon with them. Y'all gotta stop pillow talking with these bitches when you know a bitch to tell anybody. Knowing if you get these bitches a secret, they gon' tell their people and grin about it. Bitch pretend to be friend you and get in your business and go tell their friend about it. Knowing if you send that hoe to the store with a 20, she gon' get a 10 about it. I need a bitch to go pick up a nigga, he pick up a little. I like my bitch pick up a little. I really work in sanitation, these niggas is trash. I gotta come pick up a little. I really think that I'm that nigga and look at my nose, no lies, sit up a little. Baby, I been getting bitches and niggas were rocking the fro with the pig in the milk.
You better check the credentials. I think it's essential. I'm killing these niggas sequential. Baby, this shit can get deep when I talk with my mouth, and I'm talking like deeper than dental. Pull it out, I'm never tucking it. Make the shot, it ain't no brick on my bucket list. Fuck it, they skinny, small, tall, chubby. I'm not the nigga niggas wanna be fucking with.
Stop, wait a minute. The way you move that body, you done got my heart all in it. And I just wanna be with you tonight. Like, please, I'm a player, yeah, it's true. But I changed the game for you. I wanna see what it do. Can I be for real? This is how I feel. I'm in need of love. Let's do the better here. Oh, you're just my type. Everything's so right. I just wanna chill.